Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? So, I thought we would take a look using the web app FootMob in this ASMR football or soccer, depending on where you come from, video. I thought we would take a look at the different leagues in Europe and predict who is going to be in the Champions League next year. The great thing about this particular app, and this is not sponsored incidentally, I just happen to really like it. The good thing about it is it tells you exactly what's happening, so you don't have to check the rules individually. So the green means that they get into the group stage, yellow means they go into the qualifiers. So if we, there's confirmation there, Champions League qualification. And then for information, light blue, Europa Conference League qualification. Europa Conference League playoff is dark blue. So, we'll start with Austria, and we'll go through a number of the large and medium size leagues in Europe, and we'll have a little chat about who we think is going to make it into the Champions League next season. Okay, so in Austria then, we got Salzburg. They're on 32 points, but Sturm Graz are catching up. And they've got Salzburg next in the league. Below that though, Lask, for example, are 6 points away from Sturm and 8 from Salzburg. So I don't see them catching up really. So likely that Salzburg are going to make it back into the Champions League. Although look, they've got 3 draws. Sturm Graz are in better form. Interesting. Okay, so that is Austria. Let's take a look then at Belgium. So, Belgium, we've got Genk at the top, 74 points, and Union Saint-Gilloise on 72, and then after that, Antwerp on 69 in the top group, and Gent down on 56. So, I would say that it's between the top two. Antwerp might make it, but they're 5 points away. The informed team is actually Gilloise. They've got Kortrijk next, by the looks of it. Oh no, hang on. Haven't they split off into different groups yet? Maybe they haven't yet. Okay. So it looks like Genk might be in the Champions League. And I can't remember how it works in this particular one. Someone will have to remind me. I think top makes it and second gets into the playoff. So from Gilloise making it really far in this year's, is it Conference or Europa League? I think it's the Europa, yeah. Then to get into the Champions League the next season, what a stellar rise for this team, wow. But yeah, no Club Brugge, no Anderlecht. In the Champions League. Okay, Bulgaria, I suspect. We'll see one team at the top. Oh, no way. CSK Sofia is above Ludogorets. It's definitely catchable. I guess they've only got one championship playoff. Yeah, I guess they've only got one Champions League spot, but that's an interesting turn of event in Bulgarian football. Okay, who's next? Croatia. It must be Dinamo Zagreb, surely. So Dinamo Zagreb are well ahead of the rest, but actually they aren't guaranteed a Champions League spot in the group stage. With that positions, they need to go through the qualifiers still. But it will be Dinamo Zagreb from Croatia. Okay, only a couple of surprising things so far. What about in Czechia then? So Sparta Prague. They are 2 points ahead of Slavia Prague, who are having a great season. We've seen Victoria Pilsen in the group stages. They had that horrible group, if you remember. Either was it this year or last year. But But yeah, it looks like Sparta Prague might be going back into the Champions League after a while away. What about Denmark? I think I know, it's North Zealand, isn't it? Oh, how interesting. When did that happen? So they've gone into the Championship playoff and the relegation playoff, and I was shocked that Midtjylland are down in the relegation, although they are top, so they should get a Conference League playoff. But North Zealand were top, but Copenhagen, or København, have overtaken them. How interesting. So it's between one of those two teams, there's only a point between them. We can have North Zealand or are Copenhagen going to return for the second year in a row. Okay, so next is England. So we're going to see Arsenal in the Champions League again and Man United. I'm pretty sure that those two teams are going to make it, and obviously Man City. But is Man City going to be the champion, or is Arsenal? Remember, in the Champions League, you get 4 automatic spots nowadays in England. Could Newcastle United make a return after goodness knows how many years away from the competition? What a story that would be. Or can Tottenham do it? Or, crazily enough, the form they're in, they are the in-form team in the league. Can Aston Villa make the Champions League? Are you laughing while watching this, or are you thinking, no, I think they could maybe nick it? Newcastle United have got Tottenham next, so that will be a massive decider. But yeah, we're going to see at least one, well, no we're not at least, oh yeah we are. Arsenal are definitely going to make it, and they weren't in it last time, they finished 5th. Could we have as many as 2 not brand new faces, but returning faces to the Champions League after some time away? Or are we going to see, can someone tell me, has Aston Villa ever played in the Champions League? Particularly since it became the Champions League and not the League Winners, not the League Winners Cup, what was it called before? Champions Cup or whatever. Since it turned to its current format, I'm pretty sure they've not ever made it. So, wow, what a story that would be. Okay, that is England. Let's pop over to France then. So, big game for Paris Saint-Germain on the weekend. They won against who were at the time second place Lens to fight off a bit of a subdued and maybe, shall we say, quiet title challenge from them. So yeah, they're probably going to win the league now, even though they were in bad form at the time. They've got Angers next, who are adrift at the bottom. And then Marseille are second. And Lens, I mean, they could still make the Champions League qualifiers, which would be a massive deal for them. Only 2 guaranteed spots in France, the third is a playoff spot. Monaco will be pushing for it. Lille are a little bit off the pace now. So I think they're out of contention. Let's go to Germany then. So unsurprisingly, of course, top of the league, Bayern Munich. Second, Borussia Dortmund. But Union Berlin, who are sort of modelling the Saint-Gilloise situation, having a terrific season, doing well in Europe as well, and now they could find themselves in the Champions League proper. They are only 2 points above Freiburg, who themselves are having a season of seasons. And look at that comeback by Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso should be knighted. That is such a... They were in the relegation zone at the beginning of the year. That's absolutely unbelievable. Frankfurt are there 42 points, I think they're out of the running now. So Leipzig will try to make it again, but the big story in Germany is about Union Berlin. I'm rooting for you guys. Okay, who's next? Well, Greece didn't have anyone in the Champions League this year. They got 2 playoff spots, no automatic qualifications, and unsurprisingly they are the very famous Panathinaikos and AEK at the moment. Olympiacos 6 points off the pace, so it'll be tough for them to catch up. Okay, next up then, I'm assuming Ferencváros are top, yeah, by 6 points. I think they'll probably make it into the playoffs. Maybe they'll make it into the group stage, who knows. They've had a good season in Europe this year. Iceland, Ireland, Israel have had some success recently, so in the playoff spot is Maccabi Haifa again. They're 7 points above Beer Sheva, so I think that they will be trying to get into the Champions League group stages for the 2nd consecutive year. Let's look at Italy. So it is really the renaissance of Italian football. I've just watched this evening, I'll do a video about it in the next couple of days. We've got 2 teams in the semi-finals from Italy, from the same city. Very exciting, we'll talk more about that soon. So we're going to have Napoli back in for the 2nd year in a row, but we're going to see by the looks of it, as it currently stands, the 2 capital clubs will be back together in the Champions League together, as they both missed out this year. Instead we had Milan, Inter and Juve. Now Juve are still kind of confident that they will have their points given back to them. And how many? 15 points. So if you add 15, it's 59, so they will go up to 3rd spot. Roma will go to 4th and Milan will drop out. So that could be a really, really important decision. I'll be probably doing a video on it, as it should happen maybe next week is the rumour. So yeah, Roma and Lazio looking more, well, Lazio definitely on 61 points, looking more and more likely to return to the Champions League. Outside chance for Atalanta, because they're only 4 points away, but that really does hinge on Juve's decision. So the Kazakh League is one which is starting to produce teams that can get into the Champions League group stages, and Petropavlovsk are, well, this is the 2023, so I guess it would be the 2022 league season that would do it. Let me see if I can find that for you. So Astana, who have been in the Champions League proper, just won it by a point, so they are in the qualifiers. They might make it into the Champions League. Okay, that's Kazakhstan. And then we've got, so Moldova usually gives Sheriff. They've only just started as well. I'm guessing they won their previous. Yeah, they did. By 6 points above Petrokub. So they are in a playoff spot as well. And that takes us on nicely to the Netherlands. So I'm pretty sure Feyenoord are going to win the league at this point in time. If you're an Ajax fan, you're probably shaking your head right now. But they're the only guaranteed spot in the Netherlands, and then the 2nd spot is a playoff spot. So Ajax will not want that, but that's what they might have to deal with. PSV at the moment, oh gosh, equal points. That is going to be a massive, massive decision. A massive result, really, for whoever puts the other out. And yeah, the other one goes into the qualification for the Europa Conference, not even the Europa League. So Champions League or Conference. Wow. Feyenoord, 8 points ahead though. I think they'll be back in the Champions League for the first time in a couple of years. Well done to them. Okay, so see if anyone from Norway. So playoff spot, and Bodø Glimt are currently top, but there's only 2 games into the season. Molde, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's old team, won the league by 18 points. Crikey. That is incredible. So above the classic winner of the Liga, Rosenborg, and Bodø Glimt did really well in the Europa League this year. So Molde will be qualifying for the Champions League. It'd be lovely to see them back in the competition. Do you think they could make it? Okay, Poland. We haven't had anyone from Poland in the Champions League for a while. And Legia Warszawa are second. Lech Poznan, who had a good run in the Europa League this year, are third. The surprise runaway leaders in Poland are Raków, Częstochowa. It might be Raków, I'm not sure. Częstochowa. So, similar to Union Saint-Gilloise, they basically have come out from nowhere, really. And it looks like they are going into the qualifying spots for the Champions League. That is a remarkable story. Portugal. So there was a lot of talk about this, Benfica giving up their massive lead in the last couple of days. They are currently in the Champions League group stage spot, Porto 2, and this could be a massive, massive thing that happens in a massive shift in Portuguese football. Earlier on, when I was watching the Benfica Inter match, I went back about 7 years. I cannot find a time when Sporting, Porto and Benfica didn't finish in the top 3 altogether. Braga potentially are about to break the top 3. If you know your Portuguese football better than I, can you tell me if and when this has ever happened? 65 points to 58, they're 7 points ahead. And they're in good form. I think Braga are going to be in the qualification spots for the Champions League. And, I mean, technically they are chasing the title as well, and second spot. So I think we might have a new Champions League team from Portugal. How lovely. Okay, Romania. Unfortunately, gone are the days of having Steaua Bucharest in top competitions, wiping everyone out. But new team, they only played 4 games. Let's have a quick look, see who won last year. Strange, 2021, 2022. So Cluj won last year's. Oh, I see what's happened. They've gone into a championship group. So only 4 games have been played out of a possible 10. Cluj are just behind them, and Steaua Bucharest. It's quite an exciting end to that league. Can Farul Constanța get into a playoff for the Champions League? Wow, that would be quite big in Romanian football. So I'm going to leave out Russia because they aren't allowed into the Champions League for the time being. But just as a good measure, Zenit are first as usual. They are the Bayern Munich of Russia. But in a change from the norm, Rostov are actually having a wonderful season and they are second. With my team Spartak chasing them down and swapping up and down with them. In third. So previously the second would have got the Champions League qualifiers, and this would have made the group stage proper. So just worth mentioning, but they're not going to qualify for the Champions League as it stands. Okay, Scotland. Celtic are almost certainly, I think they might have already qualified actually. And then Rangers, I think second spot. So last year's second spot was automatic qualification. I'm not sure about this year, viewer. If you know your Scottish football, can you give me a comment and let me know, please? Have Rangers qualified for the group stage or just for the playoffs? I know they had a bad season, the pair of them, in the Champions League this year, but it was nice to see two Scottish teams back in the Champions League. Serbia, on the other hand, I think they might have an automatic qualification spot. So that's the relegation group. That's weird. Why did the relegation group play more games then? So it looks like Red Star, Crvena Zvezda, 20 points ahead of the next best team. Bad season for Partizan. So they look, oh my god, it was an invincible season. Ouch. Well done to them. So they can try and get back into the Champions League. That would be really good for football in Serbia. Slovakia very quickly. Oh, I pressed the FA Cup by accident. Slovakia. We haven't seen a Champions League appearance from Slovakia in some time, but that would be another crazy one. DAC getting it instead of Slovan Bratislava. Someone from Slovakia give me some more info about this. But it's only a qualifying spot anyway. It's not directly into the group stage. Okay, so that takes us to España. So Barcelona and Real Madrid are almost certainly through, Atletico as well. But there's a bit of a scrap for the fourth spot, which gives you automatic group stage status, just like in England and Italy. And that's being fought over by Real Sociedad, who are not in the greatest of form. Real Betis, Villarreal. I think my club, Athletic Club de Bilbao, are probably out of it now, 43 points. Which is like a good, yes, even though they beat Real Sociedad on the weekend 2-0, still don't think that they can catch them anymore, which is a huge shame. But they might be able to get European football depending on the winner of the cup, for example. That might come down to them. So we'll see, but yeah, Villarreal could still make it. Real Betis and Real Sociedad, who did well in the Europa League this year, beating Man United a little bit controversially, if you remember. Okay, Sweden. I remember Malmo was in a couple of years ago, but they've just started, so we'll have to look at 2022. And the qualifiers, oh yes, of course, Häcken. Is that their first ever league title, or their first in many, many years? So they are going to make it to the knockouts. That would be a brilliant story if they could make it into the league stages. Good luck to them. Häcken are the second, the now first team of Gothenburg, the second largest city in Sweden. Okay, Switzerland. So Young Boys are top, Servette second, but they both only have qualification. They don't make it into the group stage directly. And Luzern might catch Then we've got Turkey. Now there was a time not so long ago when Turkey offered quite a few, I think it was 2 or 3 teams every year into the Champions League. At the minute, they are not doing great. They've only got 1 qualifying spot, but that is filled with a very resurgent Galatasaray team, star-studded, in brilliant form, 69 points or 6 ahead of Fenerbahce. Can they get themselves into the Champions League and get some vital points to push Turkey's coefficiency up and get more teams from their country back in the Champions League? Okay, that leaves us with Ukraine then. So Ukraine usually have 2, so at the minute we've got a situation where top goes straight through and second goes to the playoffs. Now at the minute that's Shakhtar Donetsk back in the group stage, where they impressed this year, even getting points from Real Madrid and Celtic. However, they're against Dynamo Kiev next, who are struggling a little bit in the league. 40 points, 43 on Soria, but 45 for Dnipro Odin. Now Dnipro quietly made their way through the were they in the conference or in, let's have a look at their matches. They very, very subtly got through quite far in Europe, and as a result they might find themselves in the Champions League, Europa Conference League. Yeah, they got out to their group. They finished top in their group, didn't they? Come on. Group E. Oh, they finished second. So yeah, they I think they were the last Ukrainian team in European competitions. So they could find themselves in the playoffs for the Champions League group stages. Good luck to them. And they've got a weird story as well. I think they're called Dnipro Odin because the actual Dnipro team went bust. So the Dnipro Odin was the youth team. And I think that team has done so well, is now in the Premier League, something strange. Okay, and a quiet nod to Wales, where we have our own Bayern Munich situation with TNS, the new Saints, hammering everyone in the league, but they can't seem to make it into a group stage. They make it into the first couple of rounds of the Champions League, and they lose either the first qualifier or the second qualifier. They never make it to the third round. But what happens in Europe, if that happens to you, then you drop down to the Europa League. And if you lose that, you drop down to the Conference League. And I think they made it to the last possible stage. So they didn't qualify for the Conference League. We've never had a Welsh team in a European competition group stage. Can they be the first? This is why I'm so up for the Conference League, because we had an Irish team in it this year. Yeah, I'm really sort of optimistic that a Welsh team can get into the Conference League, and it seems weird that the team at the top of our league might aim for that rather than the Champions League, but they're just not good enough for the Champions League at all. But they might sneak into the Conference League if they get sort of an easy draw, so fingers crossed. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, click like. If you have a comment, an opinion, please share it with a comment, and if you're new to the channel, click subscribe. And then in the next edition, I'm going to be looking at teams that are going to get relegated from their top league. Some big teams around Europe are looking to get relegated this year, especially those in the English Premier League, Italian Serie A, and a massive team in La Liga is staring relegation in the face. We'll have a look at that next time. But for now, thank you so much for